Desert Ship over Monster Pit. This is Modbrix set 108815. It was released in August 2025 for about €50. This construction block set consists of 1244 pieces, which are compatible to bricks by other building blocks companies like Lego, Kobe, Mega, and so on. I think it's quite obvious that this set doesn't come with an official license, but it's definitely inspired by Star Wars, by The Empire Strikes Back. Here we see Jabba's sail barge, and here are the two skiffs with Luke and Han, ready to get thrown into the great pit of Cocoon, and to get gulped by the Sarlacc. There exists a huge UC asset by the Lego company of Jabba's sail barge, but I don't like that set so much because it has so many studs on its hull, or on the sail barge's hull, and because of that I'm quite happy that this set here was released. You can see that the surface is way smoother, even though it's a smaller set, but a smaller set also means that we get this kind of diorama, and having dioramas is always awesome. This set here was designed by Florian W. I showed you already several of his creations on my channel here, and I really like his designs. He is an awesome designer, he does great stuff, and so I'm really looking forward to assemble the set here too. So, you can see the box is nothing special, it's just a simple box without any design, but at least we get this little paper sleeve here, and on that sleeve we also get some stuff to see. So on the back side of the set, of the box, you can see the completed set from different angles. And yeah, that's more or less all, I guess. But now it's time to open the box. The pieces come in unnumbered bags. There are no building sections, so I would recommend to open all the bags and sort the pieces by type before you start with the building process. That way you simply won't have to search for an individual brick at each step too long. As you can see, there are no printed building instructions. We have to download a PDF file from the Modbrix website. Modbrix is the company to which Modbrix belongs nowadays. And I think I'm going to sort now all my bricks, and after that I will start with step 1. I will come back to you as soon as I see something interesting or something simply doesn't work as intended. I just found this piece of paper in one of the bags, and it comes with a QR code, which leads you to the building instructions, so you don't have to navigate yourself through the Modbrix website. But alright, now it's time to start with the building process. Step 3. Have a look at this cool pattern which we are building here. It looks a bit like Nasri design, like we can find it in the Alhambra. Well, but what I actually want to talk about are these pieces here. Those are pieces which you don't find in Lego sets. Those are special pieces. The Lego company doesn't produce these 2x2 wedges without studs. Those here are pieces which we could find in a Lego set, the same wedge but with studs, but those things only as tiles aren't pieces which have equivalents in the Lego universe. Step 26. To be honest, so far I didn't have that much fun with assembling the build, because we more or less only placed 1x1 pieces, and placing one by one pieces in huge amounts is always quite exhausting and annoying. But on the other hand, it is necessary if you want to get a higher level of detail. And have a look at this. This really looks like the Sarlacc's maw. It's impressive. Yeah, I think it was worth the trouble. But luckily, now we continue with placing bigger pieces, so this will make more fun, I hope. I just noticed that before step 28, there is no step 27. Step 26, then there is an unnumbered step, and then we get step 28. Yeah, they simply forgot to place 27 in the step here. But this doesn't matter at all. Step 42. Yeah, I had much more fun with the previous steps. You can see we have built a lot of stuff with huge pieces, and assembling huge pieces is always fun. Step 59. We have completed the base. At least I think so. And now it's time to start with building the ships. We start with the skiffs. Step 79. We have completed the skiffs. And now we can finally build the sail barge. Step 84. It's really helpful that we got this little box down here which tells us in which brown colors the pieces up here are exactly. In reality, it might not be that difficult to distinguish reddish brown from dark brown, but when we have a look at the instructions, it's not so clear. Step 94 is in disguise. We don't get to see its number, but we get to see the numbers of step 93 and 95, so it's absolutely obvious that this is step 94. Step 111. In this step we are working with several bars and tubes, and have a look at these 5L tubes here. Those are tubes, not bars, because of course we wouldn't be able to place bars like this without breaking them. We wouldn't be able to bend them like this, and you can see that we have bent those tubes quite heavily. And I'm quite sure that once these tubes stay in this position for a while, they will stay in this shape even if we disassemble the build again. I doubt that we will be able to straighten them once again, but I'm not planning to use them for something else, so this should be fine. Step 124. In this step we are using a building technique which, for example, the Lego company doesn't use. But I showed you this technique in a lot of my videos about Modbrix sets. But also other companies use this technique quite often. As far as I know, Kobe invented the technique. So, you see we get this single stud here, this hollow stud, this only stud, whatever you want to call it. And this is used to turn an anti-stud into a regular stud. So we get this piece here. And of course, on one side there's a stud, and on the other side there's the anti-stud. But we want to turn this anti-stud now in a regular stud. And yeah, what we do is to simply place the hollow stud in the anti-stud. We do this with the help of a tool with this bar here. Alright, then we stick the bar in the hollow stud. We place the stud at the right position. We push down the stud with our fingernail, and at the same time remove the tool like this. And now you can see we have studs on both sides, which is quite practical. That way we can build in both directions. We can simply revert the building direction. That's quite cool. We can invert the stud order. For example, we can do something like this here. Step 128. In this step, we are adding the first of the side panels to the sail barge, and yeah, once we have added it, we won't be able to have a proper look inside. But I want to show you the inside because there are some cool details hidden. So you can see that there are a lot of these one by one round plates, which are supposed to be the figures which are on board the sail barge. I'm not really sure about all those figures, but I think some of them are absolutely recognizable. So let's start with the huge one here in the back. That one. This is definitely supposed to be Jabba the Hutt. And I guess next to Jabba, this might be Salacious Crumb. And maybe those three 1 by 1 plates in front of Jabba are supposed to be Leia. I can't imagine that this looks like a half-naked person. Well, and then we got here those stairs going down, and yeah, on this platform below there are a lot of other people. I'm not quite sure which persons these are all, so I'm quite sure that this is supposed to be C-3PO, and the little blue and white one, this might be R2-D2. And this is definitely Max Rebo, you know, the musician. But I'm not sure about the other figures. I know Boba Fett is on board and also Bosk. But I guess we get to see some of the random persons. Well, more or less all of the persons on board the ship have no names, but yeah, I guess those are guards. I'm not really sure. But as you can see, there's a lot of partying going on here, and this is a neat detail, especially since we're going to close it now and we won't be able to see it again. Step 155. We have completed the ship's hull, and now it's time to build the brick-built sails. Step 161. We are in the middle of building the sails, and I noticed that there are problems with the color. So you can see all these pieces here are in nougat, or is it dark orange? I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. So all these pieces are supposed to be in the same color except those two brown pieces. But when we have a closer look, we can clearly see that these two wedge tiles are in another shade than these 2x2 plates with cut corner. Step 164 is another unnumbered step, but it's also the final step of the sail barge's construction. The only thing left to do now is to build a stand, which we use to connect the sail barge with the base. Step 170. We have completed the build. The last few images we get to see here are only images of the completed build from different angles. Alright, then let's have a look at the build. It looks cool, doesn't it? Yeah, we got this little desert diorama which shows Jabba's barge, the two skiffs, and of course the Sarlacc. Where should we start? Let's start with the barge. So we really got these huge side panels here which look really detailed. It's cool that in this small size the designer managed to create or recreate the looks of the real barge that well. It's amazing. Even these two little finlets here. Here in the back is the engine. Up here are the sails. We get to see the guard, I guess. Over here is another guard. And I really like how these rails up here look. This is so cool. It's definitely Jabba's sail barge. It's a bit sad that we can't open the side panels any longer and have a look inside, because inside we could see all these different figures, but that's all I can do. And yeah, as you can see, this doesn't really help to have a look inside. There were a lot of brick-built figures inside this. I showed you this during the building process. Of course, not every single figure which was seen in the scene was placed in the barge, but nevertheless we got to see the most important figures: Jabba, Leia, the droids, and so on. Maybe the huge gun is missing, which Leia and Luke used to shoot at the barge just before, Luke and Leia jumped off the barge. Okay, then we got these two skiffs here. This is just a skiff with guards. And this is the skiff with our main protagonists. Here in the front, this is definitely Luke. This is Han. This is Chewbacca. I guess this is another guard, and this might be Lando. Yeah. Even the plank is here on which, Luke stands just before he does his little trick, and with that the whole fighting scene starts. Okay, and then down here there's of course the mighty Sarlacc. It's the special edition version of the Sarlacc, because you can see here in the middle there is the mouth, which wasn't seen or wasn't shown in the original movie. And then we get to see the desert. Can you call it creeping when it's just nature? But you know what I mean. There's a lot of stuff shown here, dunes and so on. It just looks like a desert landscape, and yeah, that's really cool. Maybe the rim is a bit too tall for the small size of the diorama. Maybe half the size would have looked better, but if the build wasn't that tall, then also the Sarlacc pit wouldn't be that deep. And yeah, I think it's important that we got some depth there. And because of that, we have to live with this tall rim. But yeah, that's not too much of a problem. It's so cool how the Sarlacc looks. With all these arms and teeth. Incredible. I really like the looks of the Barge and the Sarlacc. The skiffs are neat too, of course, but these two things here are just amazing. Wow. Well, maybe the figures do not have the right scale. In reality, in the movie, there are way more figures shown in that scene. There are more figures on the skiffs, and inside the barge, there are way more figures. But yeah, with that size here, I doubt that we could have fitted way more figures on the skiffs. Maybe the figures here are twice the size of the figures they should normally be, but you can't do better with just bricks, so that's fine. Well, building the set was absolutely fine. The instructions were always absolutely clear to understand. Great instructions, great design, it was fun to build. The bricks are alright. I don't like so much that they come, or many of them come with huge ugly injection holes, these crater-like holes. But there are also pieces which have perfect injection marks. Have a look at the 1x1 plates here. It's great that we do not get to see the huge injection holes on the top. There's no problem with the clutch power. The bricks work totally fine. And I think besides the injection holes, the only thing to criticize is that some of the pieces, have differences in the color. You can see it here on the sails. But I think it's only a problem with the sails. I didn't notice it that much with other pieces. Yeah, I think once again Florian has done a great job. And I'm looking forward to his other Star Wars MOCS.